All right, what's up, everybody? Welcome to another thoughtfully stimulating episode of Every Last Record, a music club for the purposeful music listener. I'm your host, Noel, and with me today we have Zeus,
What's going on? It's your boy Zeus, the artist.
Marcus,
A lover of poetry, yes. My name is Marcus.
Flo,
Yo, what's good, everybody?
Leo,
You know, the Latinos call me Leo, but, you know, I'm with a bunch of Americans here.
Hey, easy there, big sexy. Easy there.
Slow down, brown chocolate.
and Joelle, of course.
Hello, friends.
Right, so today's album is Telefone by Noname, and Leo will be leading the discussion, so please take it away.
You know, I asked everybody here, what's a piece of advice you actually use, right? Because, you know, throughout our day-to-days, we always have people giving us unsolicited advice. Sometimes it is solicited, you know, wanted, but we never use it. We kind of throw it in the trash can. So I want to hear from all of you. What's a piece of advice you actually use to this day?
Yeah, I mean, I'll start it off. It's kind of funny because like the advice, or I guess like the quote, is from a job that Matt and I used to have, right? Where we used to.
Oh man.
Yeah, we're not gonna talk about those days. So Matt and I we used to do door-to-door sales, and prior to like actually going out in the field, like there was always be quotes and whatnot, and like just philosophies and ways that we want to live, and so on and so forth. Very valuable stuff that like we kind of still use. Well, I would say I still use.
I still do too.
Yeah, no, I agree. And one of the things was, if you don't know where you're going, any road will take you there. Right. So again, if you don't know where you're going, any road will take you there. So it always makes me think about just intentionality. And I try to say to students all the time, right? Like you may not be responsible for the things that happen around you, but you're definitely accountable for how you choose to move forward. You could choose to have a destination, right? And if you don't choose to have a destination, then your destination can be anywhere. You may not actually like it, right? So why not be intentional with the choices that you make to end up where you want to be in the future. So yeah.
I can go next.
Thank you.
It's pretty simple advice, but I would say one that I feel like I have really integrated at this point in my life, which is that one shouldn't like dwell over the things that we can't control. I think that one is simple and easier said than done, but I think the reality is that we can't control anything, and that we're simply here having an experience, and we can choose to act in a way that aligns with our values and trust and surrender, but truly we're never really controlling. And I think that has given me a lot of peace of mind, but it definitely gave me a lot of anxiety before it gave me peace of mind. So it's a process.
Yeah, that's incredible. It's incredibly passive. That gives me anxiety, to be honest.
Passive. I would not say that it's passive, but I can see that if you're in a particular part of your journey in your life, that you can see it that way.
Mm-hmm. That's fair. I think that's fair. That's 100% fair to say.
It takes a lot of work.
Yeah.
And then none.
Yeah, no, you made a comment in the chat about like timing, and right, like we want to aim for something, but like if we stress too much about it, then we might miss like the process. Like I think that's a perfect example of, and you can correct me if I'm wrong. I think that was a perfect example of what you're trying to get to, or where you want to get to.
Yeah, amen. I think that there's definitely falling in that house for sure.
I'll go next. One that stands out for me is trying to see things from another person's perspective. So like putting yourself in another person's shoes, whether that be a family member, a friend, or coworker, something like that. Mind you, I feel like it depends on the circumstances in most cases, but a lot of the time, I feel like a lot of things can be handled better because you're trying to understand the other person's perspective instead of just seeing through your lens only and not trying to see where somebody else is coming from. And I feel like that could help in so many different situations, especially in the climate that we're in today, in the world. Just trying to understand each other and see where people are coming from. That's something that I kind of grew up on, and it's helped me a lot personally. Whether it's been, relationships or with family or whatever the case may be, just trying to see where the other person is coming from before, instead of like just blocking out anything that they got to say and sticking to my own points, is something that I feel like could be beneficial. Like that mindset shift.
I'm still trying to figure out like the exact words, but I remember like it's like a hazy memory, so forgive me. But it's like I remember being told be the person that you want to idolize, or like be your own hero essentially. And it's kind of like which I know sounds like crazy, but it's kind of like, you know, who do you envision yourself being, and what's the type of people you look up to when you were like a kid? You know what I'm saying? Like emulate that. And like I remember, like, you know, I was in a really lost place for most of my life, especially when I was younger. I wasn't like the super popular kid, or like, you know what I'm saying, like in certain social circles. I kind of had to like really work to become the person I am right now. And I always had a vision of like, man, I could be this guy, but I could never be that guy. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I remember just like, you know, as I got older, I started to like, you know, read a lot of books to like help myself with like the way I used to enunciate my words. And like, I used to have a really bad stutter. I worked really hard at, you know, being in a certain place in my life financially and like job wise, and just like, you know, learning how to hustle legally by like, you know, putting my resume out there, making certain connections, like chasing after dreams I wanted to make. And like, I just, as I got older, I never became someone that just like, you know, used to like just stare at the wall and like, you know, pray and hope, you know, things will get better. I just made stuff better for myself. And that's because of that piece of advice I got. I can't remember who it was. It's probably a family member, but yeah, that's kind of like the advice that lives in my head rent free.
I mean, that's a beautiful thing, you know, trying to strive towards something, you know. So overcoming those hurdles is a great sign of like perseverance. For me, I mean, it's more like it's something I read in a book actually about manufacturing. So it's not as spiritual, maybe, as you guys are. But I'll bring it back around. Like, it was a book upon the Toyota production system, which, like, at the time when it was founded, was like one of the most efficient manufacturing systems of all time, and to this day, which is why the company is, you know, has such large value. But the founder, Toyota, his basically main mantra was to like always, whenever you're working on something, work towards perfection, right? And the rebuttal is, hey, well, perfection's impossible, so aren't you, you know, essentially signing yourself for a failing mission? And his response to that is mostly like, if we work towards perfection, that means everything that we do every day is going to be the best we can do it, right? If we're trying to achieve perfection, we're going to give our 100% every day. We're always going to try to find new ways to innovate. We're always going to try to, you know, take that extra step forward. And it doesn't matter if perfection is impossible. It's just that getting into that mentality of like, hey, we should strive to get to that goal is what's going to drive us forward. And I've kind of like brought that with me to everything, you know, whether it be work or whether it be, you know, what, you know, if I'm writing something, if I'm like, you know, it's not necessarily about being the perfect person, right? But it's about like being intentional with everything you do. And even in the days that you don't, you know, as long as you put in your best effort that time or the next time, it's really what pays off in the end. And so, yeah, I try to implement that in everything I do, or at least I try to. Sometimes I get lazy, but, you know, what are you going to do?
You know what that reminds me of? Actually, a Kanye quote, which is "Reach for the stars, so if you fall, you land on a cloud."
Yes.
There it
I
is.
thought the same. That's crazy.
All right. So today we are going to be discussing Noname's 2016 debut mixtape in quotations, because I feel like there's some debate about what a mixtape is. Telefone. Just to give you some context around the album, it was released in the July 31st of 2016. Noname had referenced, you know, putting out a project as early as 2014, but kept pushing it back and delaying it for, you know, whoever knows why and what reason. Eventually, she would release this in 2016, and it's a album very close and dear to my heart, because I don't know, it's something that sounds, I can't even put my finger on it. It's just one of those pieces of work that when you listen to it, for me personally, I was like, this is everything I've ever wanted to hear, in a sense, right? So it's an album that I love. I went to go see her tour this album live, and she had a live band as well, and so that kind of almost exaggerated, you know, my love for it. You know, leading to almost like a quest to keep on finding albums that sound like this, right? That are very poetic and very, giving, just pouring out into you. And yeah, so just to give you some spotlights on Noname, she was born in Chicago and grew up in Chicago. She was very involved in the local music scene, open mics and poetry competitions as well. Being in those circles with Saba and Chance and Vic Mensa and all of them.
And Mick Jenkins.
Yeah, and Mick Jenkins. And I was going to reference him. In a bit. I know that's your boy, Mark.
Yeah. I got to plug.
And not to jump into the material in the album, but she references Brother Mike in the intro track Yesterday, who passed away, I believe, in 2014, but was one of the main proprietors of putting together these local, music competitions or local events, for the youth in Chicago, and really influenced not only Noname but the rest of that music scene that we've come to know and love. Before this debut came out, she was on Chance's mixtapes, Acid Rap and Coloring Book, as well as Mick Jenkins' The Waters. Funny enough, in The Waters, on the track that she's featured on, Comfortable, she references that her fans are asking, when is Telefone coming out? What's the holdup, right?
2014?
And The Waters, I think it might have been in 2016, actually.
No, that sounds way
No.
too early.
That might have been 2014. You're right. Yeah. Somewhere around there. In 2019, she founded a book club named Noname Book Club, whose mantra is reading materials for the homies, believing in building community via political education. In 2019, she started using the donations to the book club to start sending these books regarding, political education and things of that matter to incarcerated peoples across America. Today, she has countless of chapters. I don't know how many, but countless of chapters, not only across the United States, but also in different countries as well. So I'd really recommend to look into it, especially because obviously this isn't going to be released as soon as this is finished recording, but we're recording this during February, Black History Month. So I think this is a great book club to donate to. I've been donating to it since, I believe, 2020. And there's even there's books for everybody in there, but there's books that are just opens your eyes wide to things that have happened in history, and it's very valuable information to take in.
I'm very curious to know, since you went on tour, who was on tour with her? If you remember,
it's actually a good question, because I don't know if she had like a tour, like with tour dates.
Yeah.
I think she did like the second time around, but the first time when I went to go see her, I don't know if you guys are familiar with the social media page Pigeons and Planes.
Yeah.
They do. Yeah. So they had a show, I think they still do the series, called No Ceilings, where they have like local and like up and coming artists like come and like perform. And so the No Ceiling show that I went to was at Baby's All Right, which, venue that I love.
Yeah.
In Brooklyn. And Saba, I think, was on he might have not been on that bill, but The Mind was on the bill. Noname was there. And actually, funny enough, for listeners, you're not going to realize this, but we're recording this right after. This is our first recording since the Fall Off recording. J. Cole actually visited Noname in the green room. Yeah,
that's insane.
I think that Felix was there too, right?
Felix was there too. I think he was on stage performing with her.
He was like the executive producer on Telefone.
Wow.
So
it was sick.
Raven Lene.
Oh God.
How could I forget my wife?
She was the spring weekend artist at my college, so I got to see her for free again.
That's cool. Then what we got? We got Kid Ink.
We got Raven, Lene, Offset, and JT. Just saying, and Zach Fox. Sorry.
Oh, chill.
Damn.
But yeah, that's one of my. Actually, that was the first show I ever went to by myself, because I didn't really have homies that would listen to Noname like that. So I was like, oh fuck it, I'm just gonna pull up, I think we met afterwards, Marcus and Joelle. So it's shortly after, I believe.
To provide some lore, Leo, Marcus, and I met going to concerts around 2016, 2017. we were going to like all the gigs.
Wait,
Yeah.
sorry. You just dropped some lore.
Do we have a lore button on the soundboard?
Get the bombs.
We
Get the bombs.
Nah, that's
Yeah,
fire, that's
actually,
fire.
we met at a Saba show, me and Marcus.
Yeah,
'Cause,
yeah.
I was going with Joelle and
Yeah.
I don't even know how it came up. We just striked up some
Saba.
conversation and
Yeah.
Yeah.
Saba, Joseph Chilliams. Smino
Yeah,
was in
yeah.
the crowd. I got a whole girlfriend out of that whole ordeal. Crazy.
Yes,
Thanks,
sir.
Saba.
Crazy. Yeah. Actually, it was Smino. I took a picture with Smino. He's mad short. But yeah.
Hey, not too
Yo.
much.
I mean, your artists look a lot taller on stage, right? But when they
He
come
was
down,
still so fine.
fair.
Yeah, with that black swan comb in his hair.
Oh yeah. He was on one. That's fair.
Moving on, because I could talk about 2016 all day. I know that's that
We all
social
can.
media trend of like 2026 is new 2016. It's not, but I do love reminiscing,
For sure.
in the past. So some fun facts about the album. Firstly, I think I already mentioned it, but at first mixtape that we're reviewing. However contentious that might be within the group, that's not up to me. The album artwork was painted by Nico Washington, who was the art director. I'm not sure if still is, of Save Money, a Chicago collective founded by Vic Mensa. So
Wow.
just Chicago all over this album. Noname.
It's Chicago.
No, they've said about why the project was called Telephone. She said that she liked the idea of what it means to be on the phone with someone for the very first time and all its little intricate idiosyncrasies, from the awkwardness to the laughter or various intimate conversations you can have over the phone. I want people to feel like they're on the phone with me, getting to know me better than a text or a tweet. I should have read that beforehand because I feel like I fumbled through that quote.
Kind of sounds like this podcast.
And that's pretty much all the fun facts I have. So just to do some spotlights on the ratings, I went to the reliable Metacritic, as per Zeus's following his lead. It has a Metascore of 84 out of
solid.
100 scale, because we have to make sure we're saying what the scale is. The user score is 8.7 out of 10. And some notable publications that ranked it are The Guardian, which scored it at an 80 out of 100, Pitchfork as 80 as well, and Rolling Stone rated it 70 out of 100. So pretty high, just spoiler alert, my score is also very high as well. So I don't know about you guys.
That's actually pretty stellar for a debut mixtape.
Hey,
Beyond pretty stellar. That's crazy. Like, that's your first project. You got like 80s.
I mean,
84s. That's pretty.
I mean, I don't think it may be her first mixtape, but like one of the things about like music in general is if you're tapped into a community, that community is going to follow you as long as you are a great artist, right? Like, she's been having features since 2014. She's been on other people's songs, on other people's albums leading up to your first project. And then not to mention, you also mentioned that she's been in the community doing her own shows, right? So like, you've created your audience before the first album, right? So it does make a lot of sense, right? You're building up all of this, what's the word I'm looking for? Like the anticipation, momentum, right? And then once you drop your first project, then it hits, right? Like, I mean, that's kind of.
Not everybody. There's people like Jay Electronico did like a run of features, and then his debut album nobody talked about came out like a few years ago.
The missing part is that it has to be good.
Yeah, it has to be. Yeah, you could be a crazy. Like, how many rappers are amazing feature artists, but their own albums aren't the best. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I'm saying? So her doing this is an accomplishment. Like, because it's not easy.
I can kick us off with my first thoughts if that's cool.
Yeah.
sure, go ahead, take it away.
Okay, I love this album.
Mixtape.
I had a long time that I didn't listen to it back to back, but for years after this came out, I would listen to this album every day, for years, low key. And I'd say that the intention of the album definitely translated to me. I think the name of the album is Telephone because it's supposed to be representative of conversations with friends and families, missed calls, emotional distance. And I think that there's this theme of like definitely like memories in life, like thinking about the future, in such a poetic and beautiful way that I really connected with at that time in my life. Like there was definitely themes of like grief, and like a intimate interior life that really spoke to me. And as I grew with the album, like it never got old. I feel like the themes like still hold truth and like a lot of meaning to me. So listening to it now that I'm like 30, I'm just like, wow, it like still feels the way that it did when I was 20, and that's kind of crazy. And I feel like I might even understand it in a different way. I love the sound of this album. It floats. It's so beautiful. I really love Felix, who's I think he's like I think that he's mostly a multi instrumentalist and producer on this album, but he I think like helped create like a sound on the album, like didn't carry a lot of like heavy drums or sometimes none at all. And so you'll kind of hear like it's just her voice kind of carrying like the depth of every song. And I absolutely love that. From her singing to her rapping, it's fire. You can definitely tell that poetry was her introduction to music, because I feel like she like really has a beautiful way with words. And yeah, like it still has the same value and like quality that I loved when I first listened to it.
I think I share like a similar thought on it of like when I listened to this album when it first came out, or sorry, mixtape. Um, it invokes like several emotions with you just from like the subject matter and like what she's saying, right? Even if you don't directly relate to it, like you can feel what she's trying to, communicate. And sometimes I think throughout life you'll listen to an album, and I used to listen to a lot of like emos and stuff like that. So sometimes when I revisit those albums from my youth, I'm like, man, this is embarrassing that I fucked with this so much. Not the
That shit
sound,
slap.
but like, yeah, but the subject matter, like heartbreak and stuff like that. It's just like, dude, I was like 14. What did I know about heartbreak? What, listening to this, when it came out, I was 20, 21, right? And I'm like you said, we're 30 now. It's like so many of these themes and messages are like so true. And you know she's only like a little bit older than us. I think she was born like 91, so
92, I think.
like, it's same generation. It's almost that nostalgia that she was referencing. Like I at the time I could like relate to it, but even now when I look back to it, when I listen to it now and relate to it, it's like it's almost like a shock to the system. Like it transports you back to a certain time. And I think this mixtape, in a way, because of that, is timeless. But I'm happy to hear everyone else's thoughts on it.
I guess to like not break up the history with the album. I heard this when it first came out. I remember liking it, and I just like it was cool, not cool. I liked it a lot, and I just didn't revisit it. Not that I like found anything wrong with it. It's just that like it was a very 2016 album. And my palette in 2016 was a certain way, where this kind of like really like flowed with that. Like I was very into back then I was like really into production, and I was like really trying to make that like my full-time career. And so like I was really into like analyzing production of albums. I had like a kind of a musical ear, and I still kind of do, but like from like a layering like drums on top of et cetera standpoint, this was a good reference point. But at a certain point my taste kind of evolved like past this kind of sound, so I didn't really revisit it. So this was kind of like hearing the album all over again. I only really remembered like one song, which was Diddy Bop. Other than that, it was like hearing a new album again. And it's a very like, I have two minds about it. Like, cause taking myself out of it, it's a very pretty album. And it's very well like written. And Noname has a very unique delivery that I know not everybody can get on board with, but I think it's like makes her really stand out. It's very like slam poetry, like poetic, kind of like
Poetry influence, yeah.
Yeah, like there's not really anybody I could think that raps like Noname, which is like very impressive. Like I like the fact that she has her own sound. I think like putting myself in it, it doesn't capture my attention as much when I heard it again. like I recognize like the beauty of it, and like she's talking about a lot of great things. It's just that like I have to lock in with this album. I can't just throw it on and like vibe out, because I will forget everything she's saying. It won't like hold my attention as much, and I have to do it like probably like the delivery and like the vibes of it. But again, taking my personal preference out of it, I could tell like the technicality and like what went into this album was very good. So it's kind of like a little bit of like my critic brain and like my personal brain into it. But it was a pretty good first impression, or later first impression.
Yeah, if I could like chime in, I think when I heard this album, like this is same year as Coloring Book. This is same year as I believe the Healing component. Like if we're just talking about like just Chicago artists, right? Like if we're talking about Coloring Book, we're talking
Count
about
Pablo,
the Healing.
Life of Pablo.
Yeah, it falls out of like what's coming out of Chicago. Like if I'm being honest, like people like that are grassroots in Chicago at that time. So it's a nice little switch up, but still they are all collaborating, and you can hear that they're all technically still collaborating with similar people right at that time. I think for me, like one of the things that I love just about the poetry element is like there's no wasted words, right? Like almost everything that she says is intentional. It builds out a story, it builds out an experience, and I think when you do that, right, you really are really trying to build a connection with the listener, right? And I think she says it in a couple of interviews, right? Like, and most people use music as therapy, right? So like it's cathartic for her, right? And by her releasing music that is very personal for her, like it allows other people who, again, we're all reflective of each other. So like it allows us to kind of connect with her when it comes to the things that Joelle and Leo mentioned about like grief, love, life experiences, especially the experiences as like a Black person and a Black woman, right? I love how authentic this project is when it comes from a lyric standpoint. Matt mentioned the production, right? It was really reiterating and just kind of like honing down. I'm not surprised at like the ratings, just because I don't think there's any wasted motion movement around this project. I think she did exactly what she wanted to do with this music, and even the features, right, kind of play into what she was trying to do, like very soft-spoken, to the point, right, really trying to put her feelings on wax, and I think she did that like really, really well.
Yeah, I feel like I almost feel something similar between like both of y'all, like Zeus and Marcus, because when I first heard it in 2016, I really enjoyed it also, and everything down to the production. I thought the feature selection was done really well, and like Zeus had mentioned, her poetry flow like stood out to me, and you could tell that she was like heavily influenced by that, and you know, in her song making. But I listened to it again now, and it had been a while since I had last listened to it. It's been a few years for sure, but I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it again. It wasn't something that, I guess we'll get to that later on when we talk about it, but it's something that I enjoy currently, or enjoyed while I was listening to it. There was a couple of standout tracks that we'll talk about, but I think as a whole, I feel like it was well written, and I liked the what am I trying to say? The theme of the album too. Like when the way Leo broke it down too, like I had looked into that as well when we were doing research, and it's cool that she kind of based it on, you know, telephone conversations and her just being like open and transparent about like things that she feels and her opinions and you know, experiences that she's went through and stuff like that. Like I thought that was really dope, and the way that she did it was really artistic with the poetry, like mindset that she has. So she was able to like break those things down, and you could almost like picture certain situations that you know, the way that she explained it. So I thought that it was really cool, but it was something that I did have to like lock in on. You know what I mean? Like it didn't lock me in. I had to lock in on it, if that makes any kind of sense. Because though I did like the tracks and I did really like the production, it didn't grasp me enough to like, yo, I need to like keep playing this joint over and over and over again. It didn't have that effect on me personally. So that was my reintroduction impression, I guess you could say.
Harley, obviously not here today, but sent his thoughts in, so I'm just going to read what he shared.
Thoughts and prayers to Harley.
Yo, chill, it makes it sound like he passed.
yeah, okay.
Harley is still with us, folks. He's still here, live and breathing.
So Harley felt that the album was felt like a time machine to 2016 coloring book vibes. He went on to say, I didn't know much of her before, but I've heard her on Chance's mixtapes. Songs like Yesterday felt like a sunset in 2016.
Beautiful way of putting it.
Damn. All right. So our next topic of conversation is emotional impact. So I feel like we covered it a little bit within the first impressions, but I don't know if there's anything else anyone has to expound upon, perhaps.
Absolutely. Right. Like
Go
I wake
ahead.
up praying for something holier than Black Death. Come on, bro. Are we kidding? Are we kidding right now? Like that's wild. Right. There's like so many other like bars and verses that she has where she's like really diving into like the experiences that she's seeing in her neighborhood, specifically like for Black people. Right. So there's that. There's also family, right? That's a big component of her life, especially with her grandma, right? Like, and who doesn't love their grandma, right? Like, like especially like that's Joelle's face, right?
Some people really don't love their grandmas, and I don't blame them.
That's true. That's true. But you know what? Like one thing that all grandmas have is wisdom, right? Like you've made it thus far to have kids who have had kids, right? And to see those like kids grow up, right? Like that's an incredible experience to have, right? So there's definitely wisdom in that. And then for her, like you could just tell like how much of an impact like her grandma having cancer has done for her outlook on life, right? I think when you start to talk about grief, right, like it makes you have an appreciation for life, and you hear that peppered throughout the album, right? I don't want to like get too much into it, but we're talking about like schmishmortions, like we're talking about relationships with love and whatnot. And I know, right? So there's a real deep emotional connection in there. And then to what Flo was saying before, right, to tie that all in with like figurative elements of poetry, right, with Casket Pretty, right?
Yeah, Casket Pretty is tough.
Oh my gosh, right?
It's one of my favorite songs. And I'm going to get into the best tracks.
Right.
But yeah, I love that song.
Casket Pretty, Bye Bye Baby, right? Like all of those things are like figurative language, right? To describe like an experience that she's going through, right? Or an experience that she's witnessing. So I like the emotional impact on this is like through the roof, right? Especially as somebody that is very tapped into just historical culture in general. So historical Black culture.
Yeah, and that is a huge theme in her music, but also like just the way that she pulls you into your own kind of like reflection, where she's thinking about like, I mean, she also talks about themes of the industry, right? Like, do I want this like lavish lifestyle? Do I want to go fully into this thing, or like,
Yeah.
am I okay with the reality that I'm set in? So like, thinking about like reality check-in, and she's just talking about those themes. I think that's like a really big conversation to have with yourself, while also in like the very next track talking about like you're growing up with like fear of police, right? And like seeing people experiencing in particular like kind of violence, right? Like and speaking specifically to like the Black American experience growing up in Chicago. So I feel like listening to this right now, the emotional continuity between what is happening today and the way that we are still seeing the same kind of violence, only getting further and further out of our hands. I think that there's a lot this album leaves you to reflect with. And that's why I don't think that it's funny, because it's one of those tricky like albums that has a really beautiful sound, but the lyrics are asking you a lot of questions and are bringing you some really heavy themes actually. So I don't think that it's a very easy listen actually, but you can experience it that way if you're trying not to listen to the lyrics.
You know what's beautiful about what you just said? exactly. You described the album cover beautifully, right? Like with her face, right, which is incredibly personal, incredibly raw, with the skull on top of her, and then what's right next to her is the flowers, right? Like, so it's a nice little combination of a lot of the things that you said about
Life
like,
and death.
yeah, legit.
Yeah, I think just to piggyback off of what you were saying, it's kind of like it's a lot of heavy themes and a lot of a lot of things that kind of like confront within an album that sounds so beautiful and very, almost as Harley put it, like almost like a sunset, right? And so if you are the type of person that consumes music, you know, just listening to the nice sounds on it, perhaps some of the messaging in here and some of the real stories that she's putting onto this record may be lost upon you, right? But once you take the moment to like sit down and really try to, interpret what she's saying and within every one of these almost like storylines that she's threading within this, a very vibrant sound, you're it's almost like a contrast of like how it sounds and what is being spoken about. And I think that's why, a part of the reason why the album had a really big impact on me, because you're listening to something that sounds one way and you're receiving a very serious and very detailed message, right? Because there's some people who may be trying to do something similar, but not necessarily, in such a matter of fact way. And I think she's done it beautifully. I think the critique she's had on some things, like you mentioned within the industry, it's something that it wasn't something like a one-off, right? Where she speaks upon something and then it's just like, all right, on to the next project, on to the next, thing that I'm doing. I think she's also lived her life and within the rest of her career and the rest of her projects, like really drove home the point of like she really believes in these things and works to counteract some of these awful things within our world.
Yeah, it's crazy. Like I like the sunset thing. I kind of like the sunset analogy. Like I liken it to more of like a lullaby. Like it sounds a little bit more like a lullaby to me, especially with a lot of the music. I mean, you have like Bye Bye Baby. Like that's literally like a lullaby, right? So yeah, that's kind of like, and even the more interesting thing is to like see where her, and I don't know if we'll ever get to this, but seeing where her career goes after this, I think is an incredible conversation to have. I don't know if we'll have it like here or off off the mic, but like to know where she ended up after is like kind of, it like the album is a little bit like prophetic a little bit. So
Mixtape.
Mixtape is great.
We might as well
But
talk
yeah.
about that really quick
Yeah.
because I think the only reason they call it or they label it as a mixtape is because she released it on Bandcamp first for free. You know what I mean? But it's like all original production and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So I don't know. What do you call the mixtape? Some people say a mixtape is you got to use other people's beats. Some people say you got to have a DJ host it with scratches and blends and stuff. But I think that's the only reason she was really calling it a mixtape.
I'm not gonna lie. I have like the same take you have, but like I don't necessarily agree with you, but I agree with you. I think I have problems with like stuff being called a mixtape because I think anything that's like you put up for like that free download thing, and it's like there's plenty of mixtapes with original production. Like Acid Rap is a mixtape. You know what I'm saying? Like
This is too late.
oh yeah, that's the one that I don't agree with. I'm gonna get into it. It's like Acid Rap, Overly Dedicated. Like there's a bunch of different like mixtapes throughout the 2010s that were like original production. My only issue with mixtapes is after 2015 when Drake put out If You're Reading This Is Too Late. That started a slew of mixtapes being sold for full price and being on streaming and being distroed by a label like it's an album. So it's kind of like
We agree. I
Yeah.
feel like it shouldn't be called a mixtape. I feel like it
that's
should
an
be called
album.
an album.
I don't consider like if you're reading this to be a mixtape. I know nowadays it's just like, oh, I'm gonna call this a mixtape. I'm gonna call this album. There's no distinguishing. I think that it could be a raw like other people's beats like Lil Wayne used to do. It could be hosted as long as it's like you're doing something independent from your label and you're just putting something out there to the world. It could be a mixtape.
I think sometimes people just like the title
Yeah,
It sounds cool.
it's nostalgic, right? Like
Yeah.
I think it's about, like, for me it's about accessibility, right? So the fact that she released it on Bandcamp 1st, right, makes it easily accessible. Same thing with what you were saying. So like, and then to change it into, I mean, like, you could call it whatever you want to call it as an
Yeah,
artist.
at the end of the day, yeah.
Yes, like,
It's
you know,
like
gotta be
people, some people call a album an LP.
Yeah.
There's EPs, and some people still call it an LP. But it's like, yo, it's
You're
an
being
album.
mad extra.
Yeah.
This is his sophomore effort. Bro, it was a second album, bro.
I mean,
Hey, that's funny coming from a guy who only picks sophomore albums. So how about we
But I got some news for you.
yeah, I think there's actually technical elements, like, between LP and EP, right? Like, I think it's,
No, yeah, LP and EP, but LP and
length.
album. I
Oh
think
yeah,
is
yeah,
awesome.
yeah. Yeah, LP album version. Like,
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
like, what does that mean? I don't know. Like, we're being redundant here. What are we doing? I hear you. Nah, my mind immediately went to this some shady.
Yes, bro.
It's not a single, so Lucy.
EP, LP is from like the vinyl day, like when records were really the only way you consume it. I don't know the difference. I'm sure we can Google it really quick, but who cares?
I think it's timing. It's time,
Yeah.
like the length.
And all right, well, Flo, Zeus, you let us know the emotional impact. Oh, you have this album had on you.
I'm not even trying to sound like mad raw. It didn't really have like a certain emotional impact on me, but the lyrics, especially on songs like I can get into some best tracks, right?
All right, let's get into the standout tracks. I feel like we're gonna talk about the themes and messages within those tracks anyway. So we can skip a couple of like our structured questions, so to say. So I'll leave it to the floor first. What are some tracks that stood out to you? What did you think about them and all of those shenanigans?
All right, so I have a couple of favorite tracks that actually like did make me like kind of like turn my head. I think the whole album is mixtape. My bad, now I'm correcting myself. is very good. I think the ones that stood out to me was definitely Sunny Do. I like the production of it, like with the little like do 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 like harmonies and stuff. It sounds like a Super Mario Galaxy game. You know what I'm saying? Like with that little like background vocal lead, and it's like very sweet, like love song. That made me like feel a certain type of way. It felt very 2016 like production style, so I like that a lot. Diddy Bop, which I mentioned earlier, was
Just
like
to add to that, Matt, that is like co-produced by like at the time one of my favorite producers, Monty Booker, and that was very much his like signature sound and style.
I've
So
heard
I
of Monty Booker, like, but I've never like tapped in with him like that.
You
but I've heard of him.
definitely listen to him if you listen to like early Smino. So yeah.
Okay, then yeah, I probably heard a few of his things, but yeah, he killed on the production. I love that production style. Diddy Bop was the one song I remembered from like 2016. Like when it came on, it was like, oh wow, I remember this, and like I like the whole like nostalgic, like this sounds like XYZ things. Like this sounds like you like in the park with your friends. It sounds like you getting ice. It just feels like, I'm not sure if that's what she says, but like she like reminisces on a lot of stuff from like childhood that if you're a millennial you would like relate to. I also like Rory's verse. I mean, I don't know what he was yapping about in the first half with like the whole like abstract, like I'm
I
like the
was,
son
gonna, I
of
was
like.
actually going to pose that question as well. I was like, Rory, that elusive motherfucker. I don't know what he was talking about in
Yeah.
the first few
I don't know what he was.
bars, but-
He brought it back in the second half. Like he had us in the first half. And the second half starts talking about like it's like my mom gonna whoop my ass again and like that. He brought it back. I don't know what he was yapping about in the first part, but it sounded good from a technical standpoint. And then lastly, what y'all would talk about earlier, Casket Pretty, is definitely like it's my favorite instrumental on the album, and like I love like everything about this song. I wish it was a little bit longer. Like I love like too many babies in suits is a pretty impactful line. It's such a great line. I'm afraid of the dark, the blue, and the white. Yeah, that's like she packs a lot of context in very few words, and that's my favorite style of rap. Like I don't like when people overly explain things. It's like if you give me very little and I have to think about a lot, interpret it a lot. That's why I like people like like a Kendrick and a Frank Ocean and an Andre and people like that. Like true lyricism isn't just being verbose and rapping a bunch of things. Being a lyricist is being able to tie a lot of concepts into very few words and letting the listener do the hard work. So like I think that like she really flexed that on Casket Pretty. So it was like my top 3 tracks, and if I had to make one honorable mention, I do think the Bye Bye Baby song is a very like beautiful sentiment. I never really heard a song like that before. At the time, that's about like rapping about like to your baby that you aborted. Like I feel like that's a very like a powerful thing to hear from a woman's perspective. I think it was very beautiful. But yeah, those original tracks, those are my top 3 tracks, and they were fantastic.
Right, I go next. I also like Casket Pretty. I thought that was probably, I agree with Zeus on that. That was probably like the main standout track for me, because again, like you said, I agree with everything you said. Basically, the production is probably my favorite produced song, and it's whack that it's only a minute 50 seconds, but it's just like it was damn near perfect. Like it was that song I always like locked in. When I was talking about it earlier, like I didn't lock in, like that song had me lock in. What's the other one? Shadow Man was really dope. You have the group come together with Ghetto Sage, which is her, Smino, and Saba. So I thought that was a dope song as well. And then I'll give what's the other one? All I Need. And I have a quick bit of lore.
Lore button.
Lore.
Yeah. All I Need featuring Xavier Omar. I like that song too. But it's cool because I saw Xavier Omar's name, and back in the day he went by a different name. It was like Spaz Rocket, I believe. And
I remember that.
That's a horrible name. No offense.
It was spelled like
Spazzy Rocket.
Yeah,
right?
And it's crazy because Sango was the one that was like, bro, you gotta change your fucking name.
Wait, it was Spaz Rocket?
yeah.
SPZRKT.
Yeah, and so one that was one. I was like, yo, the name change was a great look, but it was cool because like I guess not too long before this, maybe like a couple years before this, I did a show with him, but it was at an event. It wasn't like I forgot. I knew his manager at the time, and
Like you performed on stage, the same stage you was performing on?
Right.
Oh, that's fire, bro.
yeah, and it was cool because then a couple years later, like he did the name change and everything, and you see him on projects like this, like damn, like I was like he's doing something, you know what I mean? So I thought that was really dope. Yeah, that's the lore.
I'll share my standout track. So I'll say like Shadow Man, incredible. I love Felix so much. Saba skated on this song. Smino skated on this song. No Names versus Insane.
Southern
Like
my
it's just
bloodline.
it's just brother, what? And though I leave like alumni, I'm lying like a lullaby. Just the cadence, the switch up with the cadence every few bars, like it's just pure talent. It's just beautiful. Shadow Man is an incredible song, and I'll say that's definitely like my favorite song on the album, and definitely Bye Bye Baby. I really love that song. Literally the first few times I heard that song, I like cried. It was so beautiful. And I will say also Casket Pretty, of course. So those are like my top 3, but I don't think that there's any bad songs on this album.
I was just about to say that. Like I think
There's
every
no
song
skips for me.
is written perfectly.
Yeah.
I think that the song that I consistently go back to, which I haven't heard yet, which is Reality Check. Right? Like I think that song sonically sounds amazing. That song has made me cry multiple times, right? Just like the way it sounds. I think what she's talking about as far as like being in a space with like, maybe it's kind of like happy for success, but also afraid of like what the future looks like. And it's really like a testament of like a lot of the things that she's been through, despite like the challenges like with her grandma, like with like just challenges of being a Black woman. And I think a lot of people can kind of like resonate to get into a space where you finally got what you wanted, right? But then you're curious about what's next, especially like with life's problems looming all around, right? It kind of puts what's important into context, right? Which is like, again, very prophetic as far as like where she goes in the future. Again, Sunny Duet is, I think, an incredible love song. A name is just a name, but don't call me crazy, right? And love is just a word. Like love is, what is it? Love is just a word unless you show it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So tell me.
Yeah, legit. So I love that. And again, like this whole album is just coated with a lot of symbolism and imagery and real like Black experience. There really is no bad songs. Like again, like I said, there's no stroke of the pen that's wasted on this album at all.
Yeah. this is the kind of album that you can literally just extract the lyrics and you can just read it as the poem that it is.
Yeah.
And there is just so much that you get out of it literally by just reading the lyrics. There's a cadence and that you can pick up if you never listen to any of the music and you literally just read the lyrics. And like Matt said, she's a poet through and through. And so like you're getting just 2 lines, you're getting so much, right? So
I will say that.
Yeah.
Like, it made me. Sorry, my fault. It made me want to revisit like her features. Yo, listen to her bars on church/liquor store, on what is
On
this?
Saba's project.
Yes,
Yeah.
what is the name of it? The Bucket List. Oh my
Yeah.
goodness, right? Like that album, and I think that album also came out the same year, right? So like literally, you have all these albums that year. I don't want to say it's a rollout, but it's acting as a rollout.
That was like a Chicago year. 2016 was a Chicago year.
Yes. So yeah.
it's
sorry.
Chicago. Why? You know what? You guys are not any fun.
Finish it.
Finish it.
Hey, you ain't the Bears. You can finish it. Nah, yeah, I really love this album, and like you guys said, well, some of you said,
I'm happy you suggested this. It was very fun
there's
to
a-
revisit.
I love almost all the tracks on this album. To be honest, it's one of those things where we've discussed on a previous session. When a artist has like a project that they have been like saying like, hey, it's gonna come out, da da da. Sometimes the hype to the project is like a little bit overwhelming, right? Perhaps in a previous session we referenced something that was hyped for a very long time and it ended up being, a double disc album, and some of the tracks aren't that good. But
Hold on now.
for this one, it's nice and compact, and I think all the tracks do their job well. Including Forever. Especially when she's talking about like,
Oh yeah.
and I can
Yes.
take a trip to LA now, and I can lose myself inside myself. I hope the Lord forgive me now. Why I still be thrifting, accustomed to wearing hand-me-downs, things of that nature. Like it's just, yeah. And Raven's on
Raven
that
is
song,
amazing.
and I think like low key, this song like Forever and Shadow Man, and this album, really informed, the type of music that I look for moving forward, right? A very poetic sounding, piece of work, and that is layered, nigh perfectly to my taste at least. And yeah, I mean, Forever, Shadow Man, Casket Pretty, Bye Bye Baby. I could list every track as one of my standout tracks, but I'll let someone else hold the floor.
No.
Well, everyone's gone, but I will give Harley's standout tracks. And so Harley listed Yesterday, Diddy Bop, Sunny Duet, and Bye Bye Baby as his favorites.
Well, I guess it remains to be said what the replay value is. So I'll let the floor have that one.
High, incredibly high. Like think about
10
this.
10 for me.
Yeah. Think about this, right? Like we're listening to this album 10 years for some of us, like 10 years, mixed 10 years since it came out, and a lot of the themes and messages still are relevant. They might even be more relevant today, right, than they were when we first heard them.
Right.
Right.
God damn it. I hate, unfortunately, how relevant it is.
Yeah, and it's again, it's life, it's experience, right? Like it's going to catch up to you eventually, right? So it's really nice to revisit. And again, it's only 33 minutes, so you could like literally play this
Facts.
over and over again, right? If you want to, and catch something new. But it is an album that like is very like lyrically dense, right? So if you lock in, like you'll be in for a treat. But it's also something that you could just play, and I would play this like at a party and just let it play and allow people to just be like, wait, what did she just say? Like
They might kick you out,
Nah,
though.
no, they won't. No, they won't. Like,
If
just
you
a-
play
like a regular
Scaring the
kickback,
bros.
a regular kickback with like that's real intimate,
at a
like
party?
3, 4, 5 people, right? You're not really playing.
Oh, okay. That's not a party. It's like a kickback. Yeah.
Yeah. So like that's like something that's really cool. But yeah, I think the replay value here is like ridiculously high.
In terms of replay value, I'm not gonna lie. Like I know it sounds like I'm a little bit more critical of this album. I could see myself like. Here's the thing. I listen to a lot of music, and it's like a lot of different albums. I constantly seek out new music, so it's hard for me to. I don't revisit albums in the past as much unless it really, really, really means a lot to me. because there's just so much music out there. But like I could see this like coming across one of my like playlists and everything, and me being like, oh, let me revisit this for a quick second. You know what I'm saying? Because it's like it's very compact. It's like 36 minutes. Which is like 1/3 of the fall off, you know what I'm saying? So you can, you know what I'm saying, you can fit 3 no names inside one fall off album. So you can just like, I could turn that on and just like, walk around the city or something like that. It has a certain aesthetic and vibe to it, like very summery. So I could like see myself like throwing this on at a certain time, but I'm not necessarily gonna hunt down like, yo, I'm in a no name mood. So I say like about a medium replay value, because like it does sound nice when it's on.
Word. Yeah, I'll second that actually. I feel like half of the group, half of us here, own vinyls and like to listen to things on vinyls, and I feel like this is definitely, to Marcus's point, like you chilling with a couple people who want to throw something on in the background. Not that it's like a background type album, but like it sets that kind of vibe that like you could just chill with the with the atmosphere. And I feel like I would listen to it again, but I wouldn't have it like too high on my list.
It's like ear tickling music. I don't know if that's like a.
You might have just coined the term.
It's like ear tickling music. Yo. Like you could just play it and like, hold on.
In a weird way, I understand you.
I love that. Like, and again, like it's lyrically dense. So like she's saying so much, right? So it's like you may catch something. You're like, okay, I want to go back and like hear what else she had to say. Right. So like it's very high vibrational music.
Yeah.
Right?
Like you might be chilling with
better than ear tickling.
No, yeah,
I think at the same time though, it's very heavy.
Yeah.
So that's what makes it a little bit more difficult, I think, to like listen to it often casually.
It's dissonance though, right? Like it's the lullaby music mixed with like very dense lyrics. Like it's like, well, what did she say on top of Twinkle Twinkle Little Star? Like that's crazy.
There's a lot of albums like that have like heavier subject matters. Like I could think top of my head, like a lot of Frank Ocean's albums do a lot of like heavy stuff. Like Future's albums have a lot of bangers on them, but they're about like a lot of sad stuff. Like The Weeknd has albums where it's like about really like like drugs and like depression, but it's like a really, you could throw it on. So it's like if you lock in, you're gonna learn something and discover something. But like if you just throw it on, it does like the production is very pretty and very like vibey. So like if you just have it on, somebody might be like, oh man, this is like a nice little vibe. Like if this was an instrumental album, I could see myself studying to this.
Yeah, to that point too. Like if I feel like you chilling with people, nice vibe, but then like you might hear some of the lyrics. Like if you actually lock in and be like, wait, who is this?
Yep.
What did she say?
Yo, it's the beauty.
Is that
of
trauma?
It's really the beauty. It's delivery too. Like her delivery will also grab you. You're like, yo, I've never heard anybody slam poetry rap on a beat before. Like, and again, like there's historical context to that, but like that's also nice. Like that's nice.
Nah, you ever seen 22 Jump Street where he did the slam poetry skit? That's what it made me think.
I haven't seen it in so long.
Poetry.
Cynthia.
Cynthia. No, but for me, the replay value, I mean, it's immensely high to me. I've listened to this album like a million times. Probably if they did like a rap of all time, I'd be 1% listener to this album. But yeah, I mean, it just speaks to me in a way. I don't know why, but it just does,
I have a random question, Leo. Is this your favorite No Name project?
I think it might be. But I think I'm just biased because of when I heard it. And I also have a closing question for y'all, but I'll save it and I'll explain the closing question.
And as far as replay value, Harley said he liked the album, but again, he has a stronger connection to coloring books, so he thinks he's okay hearing her and her poetry on Chance's album.
I resent that he had put it in the same box as Chance's, almost as if it's an either or situation. Because I feel like that's something that happens to No Name a lot, but that'll be the last comment I make on that.
Oh my god! Especially the delivery that Noel's giving it. I mean, it sounds like a dagger to the heart.
Is it too deadpan?
It's too monotonous for me. But let's go to ratings. I feel like mine is going to be extremely high, so I want to lay it up to either Zeus or Flo for their ratings first.
I'll go. I will give this. I'm gonna give it a 7.5. Because I think that I really enjoyed the production on it and her poetry, lyrical content, whatever box you want to put her in. if any. I thought that it was strong. I thought that it was something that I did enjoy, and I didn't find any, to the point that Marcus has said, I don't think there's any songs on there that I'm like, yo, this is whack. There's no bad songs on there. When I listen to the album, I listen to every song each time. So it was definitely something that I enjoyed. I just didn't like love it OD. So 7.5, I think, is a good score.
Yeah, I have I pretty much agree with everything Flo said pretty much. It's like I have like two minds about it. I think if like I'm taking my personal taste out of it, which I know you have to do for a rating, but like if I'm just looking at this objectively, it is a really, really, really good album. Like, I mean, mixtape, damn. Getting myself again. It's like well structured, like, like I like the way she like writes and everything, well written album. So like critically I can see why it's like an 87 on Metacritic and everything. Now me personally it's like a 7, and that's mostly because like I like all the songs, and that's like my baseline for like a 7. It's like I like every song. There's not a bad song on there. Usually like for me to give it something above a 7, like does something a little extra for me, like on a personal level. So that will make it like an 8 or a 9 or a 10 or something like that. So it's like I like every song, and I will revisit this album, and it's like really well written. I like the way that her voice blends into the production. It's like an experience, and I like that a lot, and I appreciate that a lot. And who knows, maybe it will like connect with me a certain way down the future, if my like musical palette kind of changes. But yeah, it's a very strong 7 for me.
Let me get Harley's rating out of the way now, because I know which way they're trending. So Harley gave it a 6.5 out of 10, and with the note that again I liked it, but it didn't really blow me away. Besides feeling like
You gotta stop reading his comments, bro. You're making it sound horrific.
He said, I like it, but it's not coloring book.
But I think that just goes to show like Harley's a production guy too, in a way, right? Like coloring book is a lot of production, right? Like, and this is, if you really like lyrics, like it's very like heavy listening music, right? As far as like from a lyrical standpoint. I think for me, like as somebody that loves poetry, like it's gonna be high for me. I have it at like a 9. Like I do have it as a 9. Like if you want to talk about like what we always talk about, which is like artist intentions, execution of theme, musical elements, right? I think she knocks all 3 out of the park. I think maybe like if I want to critique it, like I wonder what it would look like if it had like maybe 3 or 4 extra songs, right? If we put it at 45 minutes, how does the album change, right? Does she expand a little bit more, right? I could tell you just like as a listener of Noname, like she starts to experiment more with her music after this album, right? And even I think her most recent album, she like gets really experimental, right?
What's her most recent album? Is it Sundial?
Sundial, yeah.
Sundial?
I think
Okay.
it's 2019, I believe. Yeah.
Oh, she's been on like a 7-year break.
Yeah. I mean, bro, like she doesn't even do shows anymore, right? Like
She,
she literally says she doesn't
she-
perform because go ahead.
She released Room 25 in 2018, so that's 2 years after this, and then Sundial in 2023.
2023. Here we go.
Damn, that's still like a really long break.
Thank you. Yeah, I mean, like and I have this question in there. Like she is she's become very anti-industry. Like ever since she started the book club and started to learn like a little bit more about capitalism, right? Like she's.
And I might say that she's always kind of been that way because there are themes of that in this album.
Absolutely. Yeah, she has. So she like stopped agreeing to do like performances, I guess, for money, right? Just because that is a privileged thing, and most people that end up showing up at shows is white. Like I went to a Chance concert last year, bro. There was a white dude that knew all the lyrics, right? Like and that's not this, and it was majority white, right? So like I get her for doing that. Like that's very radical. That is why like she's been on a break so much, right? Like she's probably still trying to figure out how to love or how to express her love of music, but also stay true to herself, right? I think that's a very nice I think that's a very human thing to try to figure out, especially somebody that's in an industry that is majority capitalistic, right? So, yeah, so again, I'll digress, but yeah, I have it as a 9, along with like a lot of the stuff that we spoke about before. Like I think she like hits everything out the park. Again, I'm curious to see what it would look like if this album like had a couple more songs on it.
Just to like kind of build upon what you're saying about like her hiatus. I mean, she's quoted in saying like she doesn't enjoy that She makes music, about black themes, black messages. She goes to her shows, is predominantly white, and then all the white people in the crowd are rapping the N-word along. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like that cannot feel good as like as a black performer, from her quote, right? So, but I'd give this album a 9.5 out of 10. Like I said, it informed a lot of how I consume music nowadays. So, that's why I said it's a little bit biased for me in my case. But moving forward, I'm gonna be a lot more conservative with my rating. So it might be the last, 9+ we see.
Nah, you can't
in
only
quite
give
some
high
time.
scores to your own albums. bro.
That's crazy bias.
He says
That's
my
wild
album is
bias.
perfect.
I mean, this sounds like it's a core album to you, right? Is that what it is? It's like a core memory, like kind of album for you.
Yeah, that is literally like
Be like
it's a core album for me. But don't worry, I'm gonna pick a piece of shit album next time and I'll give it a listen.
I want to hear some bad music from you, Leo.
hey, I got some in the chamber.
Same. I love it though. Like sometimes it's good music. Like, sometimes it's bad music that you just love.
I'll share my score, and I think you guys know that when I rate music, like I'm kind of anti-ratings anyways. So there's that, because just like how do you rate an album and on what merit, right? And it's like, how do you rate an album off of what you wanted from it versus what the artist's intentions are? So there's just a lot of conflicting feelings for me in that. This for me is definitely a 10 out of 10 album because I feel that No Name got off her chest so many incredibly deep and pressing topics. She gave me the angle of her community. She gave me outside perspective, but she also gave me like inner depths of her own self. That's an incredibly difficult feat to do in such a short amount of time, while also being audibly like enjoyable and lyrically impressive. So for me, definitely a 10 out of 10 album, but also like, what does that even mean, right? So yeah.
So for our closing arguments, I got something. It came to me while I was like talking about how much the album meant to me. I have this odd thing. I don't know if anyone shares this sentiment, in that if I go see a musician live and the performance is good, I like the music more.
Absolutely.
And I feel like that's what happened with me to this album, because I listened to the album. First, I saw her featured on projects that I liked a lot, and I was like, oh, I really fuck with this. And when this album came out, I was like, oh, I like this. I think this is really good. And then when I saw her live, and she was backed by a live band, that I thought it was wonderful. I thought it was amazing and incredible.
I don't
and
think
so
there's-
that might even.
I don't think
might
there's any
even
other
lift
way.
it. Yeah,
I don't think there's any other way.
I'm wondering what you guys have thoughts about that.
Yeah, like I think we alluded to this in the fallout, right? Like I think when you have a concert, you have a show, right? Like how you package that at a concert elevates the experience, right? It does elevate the experience. So like if you bring out a band, right? With live music.
That's a great point.
Yeah, and again, think about this for a second, right? How would that performance have been without the live band? It probably wouldn't have hit as much. Like I think she's one of those. Her music just speaks to community, right? So it just makes sense for her to have her homies, right, up there on stage with her, right? I think a lot of artists miss the opportunity to have a band, whether it's for cost reasons, right? Like,
Yeah, it's not as easy.
nah, I hear you. I went to a Gold Link show. He just had a DJ. I was like, yo, bro, your music speaks to having live instrumentation. Why are you cutting yourself short? Why are you cheating the fans?
Live
right?
instrumentation will always win.
Absolutely, absolutely.
It's funny you reference
expensive.
Goldlink, because when you
Exactly,
see
it's
him on
just
Triple
harder.
J,
Yeah.
and he's like performing in that studio with the band, it sounds so much better than what it is.
Yeah. It elevates the music for sure. Absolutely, for sure.
All right, and with that, I want to thank you for listening to today's episode. Join us next week when we will be discussing
Voodoo by D'Angelo.
Yeah.
I want to say that this is a man that I'm not gonna lie, I styled my entire 30s after. I just like, man, I just throw on D'Angelo every morning when I get ready for work. Like that's like,
So just grown, sexy, and raunchy.
yeah, that's exactly how I
Got
feel
it.
at all times. And like even right now, and like you know what I'm saying, like
Yo.
and now that, and I feel like with his passing, R.I.P. A lot of people have been like talk about D'Angelo again, and that's like really beautiful to see. So yeah, and if I had to give y'all a mood to listen to this at, it's definitely like a nocturnal kind of album. In my opinion, how I like to listen to it. I go on my balcony and just throw it on sometimes, if y'all got a balcony, or just walk outside to it. But yeah.
Robe on, light some candles.
Yeah, just like that, you know what I'm saying? Or you know what I'm saying? Like the untitled video, you know what I'm saying? Like work
My
out, get a
acapella
six
group
pack.
and I are doing "Lady"
Lit.
by D'Angelo, and
love
it sounds
that song.
fire. Shout out Shades of Brown.
But yeah, Voodoo by D'Angelo. Next album.
Let's go.
Let's go. And with that, we want to say good night. And remember, don't consume music. Let music consume you.
Yeah.
I have a question.